Hello everyone, it's Maxime, also known as Madnissimo, and I need some sleep Simo. Today we will be going over every build of OTT and what stride to choose depending on the situation. And I will also go over how to play a bit and what the goal of OTT as a deck is to help you understand my choice process in choosing my first stride in OTT, which in my opinion is one of the most important skills to have as an OTT player, because OTT differs from other deck by something like a lot of clan in premium will do first stride is setup and second stride is kill, but in OTT we by the second stride we have Ichikishima. Sometimes we can go Ichikishima first strike, which is really great. But the process is Ichikishima is a god card, and if we active the GB3 skill, we will be able to almost kill your opponent, depending on the clan you play against. So the goal of every deck, of every OTT deck before that, is put your opponent in a lethal zone. So the goal of your first stride, depending on the situation, is put your opponent into the lethal zone without dying, because you have to survive the stride turn of your opponent. If you're first striding, we will guess that you're going second, because it's more easier to explain this way. So you're going first, you're striding, you have to survive the opponent's stride, which will be most likely a GB3 stride. So you have to be careful to how much CB you can give against every clan. But you have to put your opponent into the lethal zone to have kill pressure with Ichikishima. Else your opponent will just no guard Ichikishima and you will lose, because you won't get to survive the second stride of your opponent, except if you're playing a Susanoo build really defensively and you set up things to guard. But every other deck will not be able to do that. So we will go first with Battle Sister. One of the strengths of Battle Sister, if we have a really strong early game, which will help us even in the Ill Guardian meta to go over things and to be able to make our opponent lose cards. So if your opponent has a low number of cards in your hand, what you can do, it's either you ride Fromage, draw 2 and use a Gelato skill if you have 1 CB for example, and since he guards with a lot of cards in early game, you will be able to get the damage with Gelato or either with your Regard. So if your opponent is low in hand, you can go for the card advantage yourself and get a lot of advantage. You don't want to go over aggressive when you see that your opponent has a low number of cards in his hand, because if you do that, you will give him a lot of CB, you will have a lot more to do for his stride turn if he no guards this. And even if you put it in the lethal zone, it's not sure that you will be able to kill your opponent, depending on the clan you are playing against. So if you already put pressure on your opponent and he doesn't have anything to guard with, it's better to go for the card advantage if you're not sure to kill. Another thing you want to do, this one I mostly do it when I had to use Soul Blast early. I don't get to see my Psychic Bird, and I also desperately need to see some heal. It's stolen, like I play stolen. I try to put heal on the top of my deck, so that by checking 6 for example, or 5, more like 4 most of the time, but I like Soul Charge 1, check 4. Try to put the heal on top of your deck to heal out if my opponent rushed me. It's better for punishing, and also it's great because it triggers every if you check up cards like Macaron and Torijas, for example. So Stolen is a great card to play more offensively, but if you need heal, you can try to fetch them like this, but you have to be careful. Like what I like to do when I go for Stolen is playing for the I forgot the name, but the Battle Sister grade 2 that Soul Blast 1 check for grade 3. Because if I do this, I will actually check for 10 cards in my deck, or at least 9 cards in my deck for a heal. So it is really likely that I will get one, which makes it a really great way. And also healing when I let some attack pass is really good, because I kept my hand, so I can play more aggressively or more conservatively depending on the matchup, and also heal out, which makes me gain a lot, since I get the heal, I get the power, and I get everything since I have J-Guard for next turn. So really great play. You have to keep in mind if you have the grade 3 Battle Searcher. Honestly, going for Stolen is kinda good. If you feel unlucky, honestly, just go for Gelato. Another thing is if you have 2 CB up, because Stolen also you do it if you have 2 CB up, because you want to pay fromage CB. If you have 2 CB up, you can go for Ichikishima, so you have 1 more card in your hand. Ichikishima is really great in a lot of situations. What you have to be careful about, if you do this, you will either not be able to draw 2 with the second Ichikishima turn, or you will have to just do 2 Ichikishima turn. When it is important to do, it is important against decks that drive check a lot. Like honestly, against Regalia, you just go blind Ichikishima. You absolutely don't care about how long the game will go, because by the end of the second stride of the second stride of Regalia, you will deck out. So you just want to survive. So Ichikishima is just the best stride to do this. One card that I didn't talk about as a first stride potential is Momo, because the only time you want to Momo first stride is if your opponent G-assists and you see he doesn't have any shield value in hand, and you trigger him early. That's the only time you might want to Momo. Like really. You really don't want to go for Momo if you're not absolutely sure that you will win. Because if you don't win with Momo, you will absolutely lose. Because you didn't get enough card advantage, and Premium is not forgiving enough to not let you lose after Momo first try. That's why I play Momo like one. Sometimes I play twice, but it's really a rare things. So that's it for Battle Sister. We will go over the next build, which is Tsukuyomi. So Tsukuyomi have a stride to go for, named Moon Deity who governs night, Tsukuyomi, which lets you check top 5 after putting a Tsukuyomi in your soul. So put 1 in your hand, so neg 1, check 5, put 2 in your hand, 3 at the bottom of your deck. So really good +1 thanks to Tsukuyomi. Also costless, so you can like stride this, put some rectangle Magus, use the skill, and you have drawn. You know what is at the bottom of your deck, you know what is at the top of your deck, so you have set up things and you can go for card play. For the same reason that Ichikishima was possible in Battle Sister, if you are against a deck that will drive check a lot or will deck out fast by putting a lot of pressure on you, you might want to go for Ichikishima because it's one card better. But always be careful, because one of the disadvantage of playing Tsukuyomi is you have less good early game. So if you're killing like your late game by going Ichikishima first try and so having only 2 turns effectively of Ichikishima, because you really want in this format to always go for the first skill. The only deck that might not be able to not go for the first skill is Fromage, because you're drawing 2, so you can go for just using the first skill with Fromage on ride and going for the second. But for every other deck, you always want to draw 2, because you desperately want some card advantage to survive the turn of your opponent. So yeah, you can go for Tsukuyomi, just 1 less card than Ichikishima, but 1 less card might have a lot of value depending of the deck you're playing against. Once again, Regalia, you really want to go for Ichikishima. Kagero, it's depending on the situation and how CBD you give to him. You give to him because of burnout and things like that. So yeah, for Tsukuyomi, I guess most of the time you will go for the Tsukuyomi stride, like when going second. But there is time when you have to go for Ichikishima, so don't go I will only go Tsukuyomi, because it might make you lose some time. Next build we have Magus. Magus is one of the easier one, to be honest. Like the condition is simple. If you have 2 CB, you go for Momo and you put a Fusili on board and you use Fusili. So you have 6 drive for discard 3, which makes it a +0, which is acceptable due to how powerful the 4 attack are. So you're going for I make your opponent lose cards. If you have 3 CB and 2 Fusili, definitely want to go for Momo, because you will have 8 drive, and 8 drive for discard 3 is like really good. It's the same card advantage as going for Ichikishima, which is absolutely insane, to be honest. Honestly, you have a lot to do with 1 or 2 CB, thanks to Kone Magus that will let you countercharge in the Magus build, which makes the deck really good playing with Momo. Like, it's the only deck that can Momo first ride and be really scary. One of the downside of the deck is that you have a less good going first, but I really think the deck have a lot of things going for it, and you really want to go for Momo. If you don't have Fusili Magus in your hand, I will advise you to go for either Aminu Sagume to try to filter the deck to get your Fusili Magus, because you get an underneath pressure skills, which is really important to get your opponent to get his hand out, because if your opponent is hand is low, it's one of the decks that is the scariest with Momo, so you don't mind. One of the other things that you can do, you can go for the Susanoo Stride to get another on it pressure, and you can for sure go for Stillwater Ichikishima to get the +2 draw if you just want to set up for later. All options are valid. If you have Fusili, definitely want to go for Momo, because Momo Fusili is just broken. Like, for really, it's really strong. It's one of the only valuable way of playing Momo in early into the game. So if you're fan of Momo, like I am, Momo Artwork, and you want to have a deck that really utilize air well, definitely want to go for the Magus build, because it is the most optimized for this. Okay, so last build now, and then we will be able to go with this video, and I will be able to go to work, because I have to go to work soon. So the last build is Susanoo. Susanoo is kinda a weird one, because the only thing you want to ride, to stride with Susanoo is Ichikishima, because every other stride didn't get you any card advantage, except for Susanoo. It's like Magus, like you don't have any strides that get you advantage. You don't have a Tsukuyomi stride, you don't have a Battle Sister stride, but what Magus can do is go Momo first, and Susanoo cannot do this. It traded for a really strong going first turn. Like Susanoo going first is really amazing, so you put a lot of pressure on your opponent by doing it. But when going second, you have a problem with the first stride. And honestly, you have 3 choices, in my opinion. You won't go for 4 choice. My bad. You can go for Susanoo, choiceless, just turning face-upping card in your J zone and putting pressure on your opponent, which will do the trick as long as you put your opponent into the lethal zone this way. If you want to go for the setup because you don't think you will be able to tank the opponent turn after the grade 3 he just did to you, you can go for Ichikishima like every other build. But if you didn't get a really good early game and your opponent is really low on damage and you don't want to actually use Ichikishima because you think it will go in 3 stride, like I said, depending on how you build it, you can go for the setup, like set up Amaterasu or Ichikishima on top of your deck, and then use the Battle Sister Stride to reveal the top of your deck and get the plus 10k in your opponent's turn. So that's a way to tank more, and if you do this, you can definitely go for 3 second strike Ichikishima and third stride for God's sake, Ichikishima. So one of the way to don't lose card advantage by going is the Susanoo or Amenusugume is to actually stay on Susanoo, because Susanoo will get you 4 cards, like 2 drive check and 2 draw, 2 drive check draw, and Ichikishima will get you discard 1 draw 2 and get 3 cards. So if you don't have a grade 3 in hand and you don't want to like commit for discarding 15k to straight Ichikishima, you can actually stay on Susanoo, do your turn, try to put a pressure on your opponent to get it to the lethal zone, and to just go next turn for Ichikishima, because if you do this and you have a alien hand, you will either way be able to Ichikishima next stride. So you don't really care about the GB count as long as you will be able to go second stride Ichikishima GB3 when going second. So for Susanoo, you might want to stay a lot of the time on Susanoo if you don't have a grade 3 or an Amaterasu, 2 Amaterasu in hand, so you want to discard 1 to get more value, so you will go for Ichikishima and then try to do some of those things. But you can a lot of the time like go for Susanoo, try to create some great columns, set up things with Amaterasu, so you will be able to, like, you first attacking with Susanoo, then attacking with Amaterasu, set up your Ichikishima or Amaterasu second cards on top of your deck, and going for the J-guard next turn and get the plus 10k on your opponent's turn. So a really strong way to tank an opponent's stride. So you might want to go for this if you have the occasion. That's it for me. I hope you liked the video, that it was helpful for you. I will try to do the montage, the editing of the video really fast, because I literally have 10 minutes to do it. So yeah, see you soon. Hope you liked. If you did, thumbs up, subscribe, comment, ask any questions that you want, and I will see you soon. Bye.